Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We have finished our Big 12 football predictions, so today we're going to break down our projected records and projected standings for the 2018 season. The Big 12 standings were probably the closest among the Power 5 conferences that we predicted, and as we all know, the Big 12 doesn't have divisions because they only have 10 teams, so the top 2 teams with the best records will advance to the Big 12 championship game, and I have that as of right now, Texas versus Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game. And actually, if you wanted to rank them 1 through 10, Texas would come in first with a 10-2 record overall and a 7-2 record in conference play. Now, we had to go through and do a couple tiebreakers for the Big 12 standings, and that tiebreaker was used between the first place team and the second place team. Oklahoma right behind Texas with a 10-2 record and a 7-2 record in conference play. But because I have Texas beating Oklahoma in the regular season, Texas is ahead of Oklahoma in the final standings. So it really doesn't matter too much because they're both going to make the Big 12 championship game. At least that's what I have predicted right now. But if you wanted to rank them or if they were split up into a division or something like that, it would make a huge difference. In third place, we have West Virginia at 9-3, 6-3 in conference play. And as I said, that's kind of my dark horse pick to maybe get to the Big 12 championship game or win the Big 12. And if you look, they're just one win away or one slip up away from slipping into the top 2 and making the Big 12 championship game. They're 6-3 in the Big 12 conference play. Oklahoma and Texas both 7-2. And I have West Virginia getting upset, quote unquote, by Texas Tech and Iowa State, both on the road. So if they pull off one of those games, I do have them beating Oklahoma, so maybe they could slip in to the Big 12 championship game. And as I said, I'm not going to go through and break down every game who have the team losing to or beating. Go check out our individual predictions for that team by team. We have a couple of those predictions live from those team stadiums, so you might want to go check those out as well. We got TCU finishing 4th place, a very respectable 4th place, sharing a 6-3 conference record with West Virginia at 6-3. But West Virginia ahead of the Horned Frogs because they own the better overall record at 9-3. A 9-3 overall record for the Mountaineers, 8-4 for the Horned Frogs. Not a bad year, but a little bit of a step back after the solid year they had last year, I believe winning 11 games. And then we have a tiebreaker here between Iowa State and Kansas State, both going 7-5 in the regular season and 5-4 in conference play. Now, I do have Iowa State beating Kansas State in the regular season. Therefore, the Cyclones jump the Wildcats for the 5th place spot in the Big 12 standings. Another great year for Matt Campbell and this Cyclones team. They went 7-5 last year, surprised a lot of people. Won't be slept on this year, but will once again have another solid year, not just overall, but in Big 12 play as well. Kansas State following right behind. Oklahoma State, this could come as a surprise to some people, finishing solo, finishing 7th in the Big 12. I know that might be a bit major disappointment. It might not happen. I know I had them losing to Baylor, I believe. So I know that could be a game that could help them get to an 8-4 record, 5-4, and maybe jump a couple of spots. But an Oklahoma State team that lost a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. Mike Gundy as head coach, once again, will do a great job. Wouldn't surprise me to see them crack 8 wins or 9 wins, but I want to keep them at 7-5 for now. And maybe if they surprise me early on in the season and show me that they're doing well post Mason Rudolph, post James Washington era, maybe I can move them up a couple spots. But I'm going to keep them there for now. And then we have Texas Tech, Baylor, and Kansas rounding out the bottom 3. Tech, though, making a bowl game, potentially saving Cliff Kingsbury's spot with a 6-6 record, just barely making it, losing 6 conference games, going 3-6 in Big 12 play. So the non-conference is going to be huge for Texas Tech if they want to get to a bowl game, and Kingsbury wants to potentially save his job. And I do think if they go 6-6, he's going to have to win that bowl game if he wants to keep it. He might not even keep it if they get to 6-6. They might have to do better than that. But right now, good enough. Baylor and Kansas, 5-7 for the Bears, 2-7 in conference. A huge improvement from 1-11 the year before for Baylor, and a bit of an improvement for Kansas as well. I have them winning their first road game, snapping their 49-game road losing streak. They get 3 wins in one season compared to 3 wins over 3 seasons in the David Beatty era, and maybe that saves his job, much like going 6-6 could save Cliff Kingsbury's job. So Baylor 5-7, Kansas 3-9, but Baylor a 2-game lead over Kansas, so they're not really in jeopardy of falling into last place there. And once again, 8 Big 12 teams going bowling. Some might say that's too much, but 8 Big 12 teams went bowling last year, and it was, in fact, all of these 8 teams that I have here, Baylor and Kansas, both going 1-11 and missing out on bowl games last year. So it's extremely possible that we will once again see 8 Big 12 teams going playing into the postseason. our Big 12 championship game, Texas versus Oklahoma. I had the Longhorns beating the Sooners on October 6th in the regular season, but in the Big 12 championship game, the Sooners will get their revenge and they will beat Texas and win the Big 12 championship game. That's my pick to win the Big 12 title. The Oklahoma Sooners beating the Texas Longhorns. A little bit of a revenge factor. It's always interesting the second time around. It's very difficult to beat the same team twice in a season. Very difficult. So it would be very impressive for Texas to beat Oklahoma in the regular season and then once again beat them in the Big 12 championship game about 2 months down the road. But right now I'm going to have Oklahoma winning this game, back-to-back Big 12 championship games, Big 12 championships, winning last year over TCU and winning this year over Texas. The Sooners my pick to win the Big 12, but Texas my pick to finish first in the standings when the regular season comes to a close. So a very interesting season for the Big 12 overall, and one that I'm very excited to see, a very close race. I mean, you look at that, top 4 teams, 1 game separating TCU from Texas in terms of conference records. So it's going to be a tight race in the Big 12. I can't wait to see how it all plays out. Tons of offense. Going to be a lot of fun this year in the 2018 season. We're getting super close. So this was our last Power 5 conference, so make sure you stay tuned for our Group of 5 predictions. We're going to do conference breakdown similar to this one you see here. Those will be coming out soon. And so as always, please go check us out on Twitter at Gridiron Expert, on Instagram at The Gridiron Expert, and always here on YouTube. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time on The Gridiron Expert.